Without further ado, we'll move along to the conference program and our amazing speaker lineup. First up today is Shashank Nigam, who will share his keynote address on the true business case to invest in airport customer experience. Shashank is often referred to as the Seth Godin of aviation. Today, Shashank will share with us the insights he has gained in 10 years of reshaping the aviation industry as a thought leader in marketing. His insights come from the depth and breadth of consulting closely with over 90 airlines and airports in his role as the founder and CEO of Simplifying, the leading airline marketing strategy firm. After the speech, he'll be happy to sign copies of SOAR, that's the book that you have in front of you, and it's Shashank's book on aviation marketing that's creating waves, or maybe a better expression would be to say it's creating turbulence. I can tell you from having met Shashank last year when he spoke at our Atlantic Airport Summit that he's a mover and a shaker, a thinker and a disruptor, and I mean that in the most positive sense of the word. So, I hope you're all seated and you're firmly fastened in. Be prepared to be moved and shaken. We're delighted to have Shashank back to Halifax. Welcome to the stage, Shashank.
What's inside, no body parts. But still, a lot of fun things that I will take out throughout my speech, but that embodies customer excellence in a box. It's not a box of chocolates, but thank you very much for that kind introduction, and it's fantastic to be back in Halifax. And do you smell the newness in this convention hall yet? Just breathe in, it's brand new. You can totally smell it. And it's always a pleasure to speak in Halifax, and it's humbling to be back at an ACI summit. I first met Angela, I think 9.5 years ago as a newbie in aviation, just starting out with probably one airline who had listened to me. And it's been a fantastic journey. Thank you for your support, Angela, Joyce, and the whole Halifax team as well. The theme of today and this whole conference is customer experience. And that's what I want to dive into today. If you're tweeting, I'm at Simplifying. It's quite simple, and I believe the hashtag for the conference is CustomerX2018. It's on your cards in front of you. Little about myself to begin with. I believe there are 4 kinds of people in the world. There are those who see the glass half full, the glass half empty, those who just take the glass and drink it, and there are people like me, and I guess many of you in the room with jet fuel in our veins and an airplane in the heart. I completely consider myself an F geek, so if you want to have chats with me later on about planes and what's the full form of Qantas and what's the oldest airline in the world, happy to have those conversations. And that's what brought me to aviation. I actually have a technology background. I used to work with an MIT startup in Boston back in 2008, but I used to like planes a lot. And I wanted to jump ship 2 weeks after Lehman went bust, exactly about 10 years ago. And I did, not listening to anyone's advice that I don't know anyone in aviation or know a thing about marketing for that matter. I jumped and I started a blog called Simplifying, which I'm hoping a lot of you have read. I started blogging about airlines and marketing and aviation and marketing and what they could be doing differently. And one thing led to the other. It grew over time, and we got into consulting and training. And we're celebrating 10 years now, and we've worked with over 90 airlines and airports, including some good airports like Heathrow and Liverpool and Kuala Lumpur and Halifax as well, back in the day. So it's been a fantastic journey. And what I want to share is, after doing that for about 8 years, 2 years ago, I decided to sort of summarize some of the learnings that I've had in a book that you see in front of you, SOAR. And after interviewing about 10 airlines and 200 hours of interviews, I realized one thing, that airlines that succeed for a long term in their markets and they dominate as a brand fall in two categories. They are either remarkable or invisible. That's right. If an airline gets people from point A to point B safely on time, no one's going to talk about it. No one's going to remark about it. You are invisible. If an airport on the day of travel just gets a person smoothly through security to the gate and boards, you're actually invisible. You have to do something dramatically different to stand out and be remarkable. And that's what I'm here to talk about today and share with you how to build customer experiences that can help your airport be remarkable. You don't have to optimize every single touch point. I believe there are 92 touch points in the latest ASQ survey. You'll be working very hard to optimize those 92 touch points. So how can we figure out 1, 2, 5 touch points that just put us out there and are completely remarkable? I will be sharing a few stories, and the first one is that of a rose. And now I open my chest, and I do have a rose. So this is a story of a rose. I was in London recently, and I was having a chat with an airline CEO. And I asked him, Alex, what's on your mind these days? What keeps you up at night? And he said, Shashank, it is about a rose. And I said, what? You might, I was expecting fuel prices, unions, and whatnot, the big issues airline CEOs deal with. And he says, no, it is about a rose. I'm like, what do you mean it's about a rose? He says, it's quite simple, really. We have a rose in every one of our first-class lavatories. They have a rose in every single one of their first-class labs. My commercial teams, AKA bean counters, tell me that if I pull that rose out, I save $1.5 million a year by not keeping that rose in the first-class lab. If I leave the rose there, I don't know if the first-class passengers remember the rose. I don't know if the first-class passengers are going to come back. I don't even know if the first-class passengers are choosing my airline because of the rose. And I said, wow, OK, so what are you going to do? He didn't reply at that time. I know what they did. But at this point, I want to ask you guys, what would you do if you were the CEO of the airline? On one hand, you knew that taking the rose out will save you $1.5 million per year, straight off the bat. Okay? On the other hand, you really don't know if this is making a difference. What would you do? Think about it for a couple of seconds. And raise your hand if you would remove the rose. How many of you would remove the rose and save $1.5 million a year? I see a few hands there. Well, this is a Custom Excellence Summit, so I'm in the wrong place. How many of you would keep the rose? At least half the room? I see Joyce's hand goes up. Halifax Airport has flowers in their labs. What do you think they did? Well, they took out the rose, and that's why I have it in my hand. I'm going to hand this rose to Karen, who's been extremely helpful with everything from Halifax. So that was the dilemma, to rose or not to rose. You guys chose to keep the rose. This airline CEO decided against it. And that is the dilemma that we all face every single day. Because flying, in its original sense, was actually meant to be magical. And I want to share another story. This is exactly a year ago from today, when I flew into Halifax from Toronto with my daughter, Sana, last year at the Marriott for the Altitudes East. She had flown a lot when she was young, but at 3, this was the first flight she was actually cognizant that she was flying. So I was a little concerned being a business traveler and having heard about crying babies and kicking babies and all of that. I was like, I wonder how this flight is going to be. I just hope she will be fine. I was quite nervous, to be honest. Security and all of that was fine. Toronto Pearson has a nice mom's line, so we just jumped all the lines, and that was kind of fun. Once we got to the plane, I had everything from crayons to stickers to everything else. I just didn't want her kicking the seats. Once we got into the plane and the plane took off, she got super excited. She's like, Dad, is that the CN Tower? I said, yeah, I'm taller than the CN Tower. I said, yes, you are. Is that the Lake Ontario? I was like, yes, it is. I can see the whole of Lake Ontario. I said, yes, you can. As we're coming into Halifax, Dad, is that Halifax? Well, you don't see it yet. Yeah, it's kind of there. But where's Theodore 2? She'd read about it, and I said, it's gone to New Brunswick. Isn't it? And she was super excited. She pasted all these stickers all over the IFE screen and windows. We took it down before landing. But flying to her was magical. To have Deeks in the room every single time we smell jet fuel or are in the plane, flying is magical. In fact, when Oliver and Wilbur Wright took off in Kitty Hawk over 100 years ago, it was magical. Somewhere something went wrong where we started talking about taking away roses and dilemmas about saving $1.5 million. Is flying magical for everyone every day? Maybe not, but we can try to infuse some magic back into flying, and that's what I'm hoping for today, because travel today is a bit different. This is my flight last week. I was in London, Heathrow again, and after spending about 1.5 hours going through the border, everyone knows about the UK border these days, but after spending quite a significant time, I landed here, and I was supposed to find my bag, which was a black bag. I had a nice pretty tag on it from, I think, San Diego Airport, which was quite fancy, but it was a black bag, and I wasn't sure if my bag is offloaded. Is my bag on the belt? Do I jump through and navigate to get to the belt? Or should I just go to the baggage counter and see if my bag is here or lost? I really had no clue. The airline did not have an app to track the bag, so let's just say after I was relieved that I'm through the border, I was anxious and nervous again. And many of us face this when traveling these days. I'm not sure whose fault it is. And by the way, this area was full of dogs, those sniffer dogs. Because there are so many bags there, they had to have so many dogs. There's got to be a bag-to-dog ratio or something like that. It was full of these dogs barking, so it was kind of nerve-wracking. I finally found one of my bags on the belt and another one off the belt. But as I was walking out, I saw a picture right above this belt. There was a pillar with a beautiful poster that proclaimed that it was the world's best airport. This year. I don't want to dive into it. I'm sure it is a nice terminal and airport, but this certainly wasn't my best ever airport experience. And that is the thing. You cannot get it right every single time, so what is it that we can get right? To understand that, we have to understand a few things. We have to understand the travelers. We have to understand how the industry beyond airports are changing, and then adapt to ensure that we create these excellent customer experiences. Okay? So let's start with the silent traveler. The silent traveler today looks like this. They walk around the airport with their eyes completely closed, okay? And they walk around on their phone, not looking at anyone, not speaking to anyone, and this is what they do. They do not want to see you, they do not want to interact with you, they just want to be on the phone. And they also board the flight, and the first person they usually interact with is the flight attendant. I cannot see through this, by the way. And that is the silent traveler of today. And we have to prepare, because today they book online, they check in using their mobile phone, they have their mobile boarding pass, they have pre-booked cars like Ubers and Lyfts and others, and they have bag tracking by the app. Why do they need the airport? Where do they need the airport or the airline for that matter? Food we can pre-order on iPads these days as well, right? So where is the personal interaction? Where's the opportunity for the airport to step in and delight the customer if there's no human interaction? There are companies which are making hay with this. They're actually taking advantage of the zero human interaction, and I want to show you one of those examples.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So, how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go. No lines, no checkout. No, seriously.
Has anyone been here? Has anyone been here to this Amazon Go store? You've been. Was there a line outside? There wasn't, right? Because it's just smooth. You go in, you pick it up. I remember in the early days, they had 2 staff at the entrance just to make sure that you have installed the Amazon app before you walk in. Otherwise, it can't detect you. You go in, and you do this. There are companies leveraging the silent customer phenomenon. Not just companies. People around the world are doing it. And sorry, I pressed blank. If you look at the booking process, as I said, I was speaking in London last week, and next to me was the head of Google Travel. And he shared a very interesting statistic. He said, do you know that before people click book, they visit 34 different sites, over 7 different sessions on 3 different devices before they click book? That's how much online research they're doing. They're not picking up the phone. They're just happily on their iPads or on the mobile phones or their desktop computer to finally when it comes to payment. They're all online. They're not interacting with real people. Traffic signals in South Korea today have adapted for mobile users because people realize that you're always looking down, and you cannot cross the road while looking down. Hence, they've got these lines at the bottom of the pedestrian crossing, so you don't have to look up. Nobody looks up these days. Who looks up? Right? You're at the airport. This is how you walk at the airport, right? Everyone is adapting. And the question is, are the airports adapting as well? I took this picture. I think it was Dallas-Fort Worth. It's a picture of 3 kids who are completely glued to their laptop screen, put in a car seat. And I was just amazed. They're just there, glued to the screen. Only thing I realized was they weren't glued to their own screen. If you look closely, they're glued to some other kid's screen. And that is the traveler of today. You might think they are silent, but that's not to say that they don't share. In fact, they are oversharers. Whatever they see, they post on social media. Whatever they see, be it a bunny or a security line that's too long, right? Everything is online, everything. And you have to be listening and tracking, like Angela was saying, all your touch points and what people are saying about it, online, offline, through surveys, everything. It's quite a task. It's quite a task when no one is speaking with you, yet there's so much feedback. It's a bit of a dichotomy, isn't it? There's feedback, yet no one is talking to anyone. Everything is online. And that's the rise of the silent traveler, the silent customer that we have to live in the world for. The question is, where does the airport come in? This is Turkish Airlines limo service. So if you're flying business class on Turkish Airlines in certain destinations, you can actually, in your PNR number, just add a limo in the booking path, and right outside there'll be someone waiting for you, and off you go. And it's through the app. You just tap your app. You don't need anything physical printed at all. The interesting thing is, this is from the CETA survey last year, which says that people who are using technology going through the airports are much happier than people who are not using technology. That's interesting, reiterating my point about the silent traveler. Now, to succeed in this age of the silent traveler, the question I have for you is this the age of then the invisible airport? Ponder that for a moment. Does it mean that to be successful and to be really liked by customers, you need to be invisible and just get out of their way? Is that how you will become successful? Many airports are. Just be the invisible airport. But this talk is really about becoming remarkable and how you build remarkable experiences. It's completely fine to be the invisible airport. Get out of the way, make the process smooth, and it's completely fine. But the key is, how do you build remarkable experiences? So there was a silent traveler. The second part of knowing what's happening around us is the change that is happening beyond aviation, but will have a direct impact on aviation. And I've got 4 case studies with you. Does anyone know what is the airport code TRA? I'm just joking. There are 4 case studies here that I want to show. There's Uber coming into your space very soon. There's SpaceX. There's AUH. Can anyone tell me AUH? Which airport is that? Thank you. Thank you so much. Somebody said it. And there's Hyperloop. And I want you to watch these closely. This is Uber Air. Uber launched this just in time for this conference almost, last week. Last week, Uber unveiled this in San Francisco, and I had to grab this because Uber says that this will be a reality before 2020. We're not too far off. They're already testing these things without humans. They're testing it with pigs. I don't know why. But Uber says that this will be a reality by 2020. Think about it for a moment. What will be the implications for the airport? If someone is coming in on Uber Air, landing at the airport, has he already checked in? Does he still go through check-in? Does he go airside, landside? Does it make sense for him to land airside and then go landside and then go? There are lots of implications. And I want you to write down, just on the notepad in front of you, just write down Uber Air, okay? Uber Air. I'm going to ask you a question, that's why. The second innovation I want to show you is from SpaceX. You might think they launched rockets to Mars and to space and whatever else. But reusable rockets into space not only go very fast, they can also land, just like an airplane. So that has some very interesting implications. Travel time 39 minutes. $30 minutes? 30 minutes anywhere to anywhere? Now, this is not coming in 2020, but Elon Musk, I would put him in the same category as David Neilman and Tony Fernandez. Just don't bet against that guy. They will make it a reality. And this is quite a change and quite a disruption. Write on your paper SpaceX and think a minute about the disruption and the changes it will have to the traditional airport model. What will become of airports? Will it be just glorified car parks? Or something more? How can you tap into this ecosystem if this change is coming? Okay? The next one is a video from Abu Dhabi, which I am a really big fan of, about smart car parks. Other than the fact that everyone in Abu Dhabi seems to drive a Porsche or a Mercedes, I love the vision here because this doesn't seem so impossible. I know of a few downtown car parks that do something like this. I met the CEO of Park and Fly early in the morning. Maybe that's someone you should talk to. But change is coming. It need not be the whole airport ecosystem. It might be just one part of it. Is this becoming a reality anytime soon, or is this just a vision? It's a vision. That's fine. That's fine. That's perfect for this conference to shake the paradigms. The last one is, again, an example. It's not a video, but I was speaking, as I said, in London, and one of the speeches was by the CEO of Hyperloop. Hyperloop is this high-speed capsule that people can travel in using maglev technology, also being built by Tesla and SpaceX, but now it's owned by Virgin. There was one part that I found very interesting. You might think it's connecting two cities, but he showed a chart, which I got him to send to me, where they had proposed to the UK government that instead of building a new runway at Heathrow, we'd rather build a Hyperloop at 1/3 of the cost of the new runway at Heathrow and connect the 3 airports so that you could do airside transfers between the 3 airports within 12 minutes. And that was one of the big proposals. 1/3 the cost, and you can do airport-to-airport transfers. I've seen Hyperloop videos of Hyperloops going from Mumbai to Pune, connecting the new Navi Mumbai airport, which is smack in the middle of that path, just 12 minutes from Pune to Mumbai, as opposed to spending hours. What happens? What happens if airports in large cities are connected as one hub? Not just through Hyperloop. Maybe it's Uber Air that does it. But what if you suddenly start working together with the other airports in the region? What if LaGuardia works with JFK that works with Newark? Or Oakland works with San Francisco? Or Düsseldorf works with Cologne? You know, blasphemy. But still, you know, you have to think about changes that are coming to the model. Because if we sit still, something is going to hit us really hard, and you'll be like, well, what just happened? A bit like what happened to taxi drivers when Uber came, or when Airbnb came to hotel industry. We have to think ahead of the time, okay? So that's the second point, about change impacting beyond just the airports and airlines, but change is coming. It's right here. You've seen the vision right here, and it doesn't seem too far from reality. So my point is, if we have to build and deliver remarkable customer experiences, we cannot optimize 92 touch points. We need to learn from them and pick 5, maybe 3, maybe 2 touch points to optimize and deliver what I call signature experiences. A signature experience is one that your airport delivers that nobody else in the world can. It's something very unique to you culturally. It's something very unique to you technologically. Something that is very, very unique, and that's what is a signature experience. And I want to give you a few examples, and it's quiz time, okay? I want you to tell me, I'm going to show you a picture, and you're going to tell me, where am I? Okay, shall we do this? Should be a simple one, since you're all airport folks here. Let's start with this slide. It is the tallest slide in the country. Where am I? Sorry? Changi Airport. Thank you. Changi Airport, Singapore. Is there anyone here from Changi? Anyone this morning from Changi? I need one of you to come up, please. Just one of you. Quickly. I've got something in my hand that I need help with. Quickly, quickly, quickly. 快点, 快点, 来, 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 来. I grew up in Singapore, by the way, so for those who don't know, so I can totally do her lingo as well. Is there a staircase there? Okay. So if you come on up here, I've got something in my hand. It's a coin, of course. I'm going to toss it, okay? If it's heads, you answer the question, and if it's tails, still you answer the question. Okay, we're going to toss it. Is it a head? Oh. Oh. What's the head or what's the tail? You want to tell everyone about this coin? What is this? This is not the Singapore dollar. This is not Canadian dollar.
It's a coin for the slide.
It's a coin for the slide. Yes. How many years has this coin been out of service? It says the slide at Terminal 3, no cash value, Changi Airport, Singapore. It's at least 5 years out of service, and yet I have it. I was on that slide on opening day, and I don't remember seeing a 50-year-old in front of me screaming at the top of his lungs as he went down. And he's like, Alama, 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 Alama. That's what he's shouting, which is OMG, OMG, OMG in your latest lingo. When was the last time you saw a 50-year-old man go down a slide, let alone shout? That experience led me to save one of my free coins and not take another ride, and I have kept it till date. Thank you for that signature experience. Can we have a round of applause for Changi, please? Now, we all, of course, know Changi does a lot of things well, from sunflower gardens to a butterfly park to gymnasiums and swimming pools. But this, to me, is quite something. It's landside, it's a slide. Anyone can come there just for the slide. And we see kids there all the day. You don't need the coin, but I've got this collector's coin. I'm going to sell it on eBay one day and be very rich. Here's another one, okay? Where am I now? Miami Airport, thank you. I took this picture 3 months ago when I was there. You get out of the train station, and right away there's this beautiful light display. And I thought it's light, but it's not light. It's just sun coming through. And Miami, as you know, is quite sunny. And it was gorgeous. When I Googled it, I realized they've actually got an artist to do this art installation. It left an impression right when you enter the airport from the train station. Right there. It's big and it's white. It's a signature experience that they work with the local art deco designer to build this and deliver it. Here's another one. Where am I now? Doha, that's right. How many of you have been to Doha and have taken a picture with this bear? Quite a few of you, quite a few of you. The interesting thing is, I don't know if you know the history of this, but this used to be an art installation at the Rockefeller Center in Manhattan a few years back, and then someone in the royal family bought it and brought to Doha. It's quite a few tons. It's bronze, by the way. It's solid bronze. But it is such an iconic thing. You go down from the escalator after immigration, and it's right there. Boom. It's right there for you to take selfies with. That's what they do. You have half of China there taking selfies with them. Seriously, it's very popular, especially among Chinese tourists. I don't know why, but it's extremely popular. How about this? Where am I now? Schiphol. How many of you have seen this museum at Schiphol? How many of you have been there? There you go. I fell in love with it. I was like, wow, there's an airport at Schiphol, and I don't need to go to the Van Gogh Museum like in Amsterdam. This is brilliant. I actually try and go every single time, and it's such a calming experience. And in Schiphol, it's off to one side in the transit area. You have to go upstairs, I think, for it. In Mumbai, they've actually built a museum as you come out of the plane and you walk to the immigration. They've got all these beautiful montage and murals from ancient India in different parts. They've got Bollywood posters there. Welcome to Mumbai, like you have arrived, right there. Thank goodness I don't see HSBC ads anymore. My daughter actually thinks that most airports are owned by HSBC. This is FYI. So this is such a refreshing change. This is a signature experience. Try duplicating this art collection anywhere else, and it won't work. Try duplicating the Bollywood posters from Mumbai. Even in another part of India, it won't work, let alone anywhere else. And that is what I mean by delivering a signature experience, something that is truly unique to you. And I've got one more experience to share, which I want you to guess. Where are we now? Halifax. In fact, I've got this little gift here that I'm going to invite Wayne and David, who are at the back, to come up on stage and tell us about for just a quick minute, please. They're part of the Halifax Tartan team. They're all volunteers. One of them has been doing this for 500 hours. That is a lot of volunteering, to be honest. And yeah, you can come on up. And this is something that kids receive. It's a fuzzy with wings. What is this about, Wayne?
If we have a young person that is not having a good experience, maybe crying, acting up, with their parents, we'll go over and we'll pass one of these out and talk to them a little bit, and hopefully
they feel better?
Feel a little better, calm down.
Okay. The thing is, I actually learned about this when I saw this in action the last time I was at Halifax. I saw them just approaching an angry, upset baby. We're good. We're done with the volunteers now. We're good. Thank you for the mic. And I saw them there. Thank you. Helping this baby out, and I didn't know what they were giving, but the baby was very quiet and laughing the moment they left, and I said, I need one of them in my home. I've got 2 crying babies. This is fantastic. But little things like this, thank you very much for sharing. Imagine someone nicely uniformed walking up, and they're a volunteer, and they're nice and gentle and give you a nice warm fuzzy. How good can the day get, right? And that is a truly signature experience. You cannot have a tartan walking around with this fuzzy, even in Scotland, and pass off as someone from Halifax. It's a signature experience. It just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. So that's what I mean. We have to cultivate signature experiences. And to do that, for our airports, we have to do 2 things. The first is we have to change our mindset from that of the captive audience and the captive customer to captivating the customer. Why do we always talk about the captive audience? I've got them now, and let me make them walk through a whole slew of shops, and they should not see the plane until they're bored. What if we start thinking about captivating the customer such that they are excited to be with us? So the first paradigm shift is going from thinking about captive audience to captivating the guest. A guest is someone you bring to your home and you welcome to your home. How can you captivate the guest? It might be something like what Halifax does with their hospitality, the tartan hospitality. It might be something that Mumbai does or Amsterdam does with the museums and giving them a piece of your culture while at the airport. It might be something else. But how can you captivate them such that they share that experience, such that they remark about it? That's what ultimately makes you remarkable, isn't it? When people remark about it. And I think we have to change our lingo a little bit as well. Everyone here talks about airside, landside, dwell time, captive, audience, bids, and all those terms. I would say let's put a stop to those. Let's keep them for the books. And let's think like a museum curator. Now, what is the job of a museum curator? He might have a collection of 1,000 paintings, but he only puts out 50 at one go. I was walking up from the Marriott this morning, and I saw that the National Gallery here, the museum just down the street, has the Maud Lewis house, the actual Maud Lewis house right there. If you have a chance, please go visit it. It's free after 5 tomorrow, by the way. So they have the actual Maud Lewis house. The museum curator decided to focus on that experience, and hence people will come for the Maud Lewis house, right, and to check it out. You cannot throw everything in there. I want you to think to Disneyland. How many of you have been to Disneyland? Did anyone get a discounted ticket? Did anyone feel that Disneyland was really cheap and like an LCC? No, we all pay a lot for Disneyland or Disney cruises, right? Yet, when you entered Disneyland, did anyone feel sad? No, we are all happy and elated and excited. The emotion connected with Disneyland is not that they are expensive, but it's a place that makes me happy. That's because Disneyland curates experiences. Now, all of you who've been to Disneyland, do you remember when you paid for Disneyland? Was it just before you entered the ride you had to pay? Did you have to pay before the ride? No. Did you have to pay at the entrance? Most of you booked online before you went. Some of you who paid at the entrance must have realized how long the walk from the entrance to Disneyland Castle was. You remember that? Now, in that time, when they have charged you a lot, let's say you paid at the entrance, to the slow, long walk to happiness, you're already happy and you forgot about the payment. You forgot how much you paid for it, okay? I want you to think about applying this to the airport experience. Currently, airports are full of anxiety and stressful moments, from security to bag pickup to what I saw at Heathrow, for example. And it's not Heathrow's fault, it can happen at any airport. But airports are high-stress environments. Just when you think you're stress-free, there might be something else. Just when you're thinking that's gone, there might be another stress point. What if, okay, what if you started thinking about curating the experiences? Why keep all the stressful experiences in the airport? For example, 2 airlines, EasyJet and Emirates, currently offer services in which a person from the airline goes to the passenger's home, checks them in, gives them their boarding passes, picks the bag up, and goes with it, straight through security, okay? You can literally walk to the airport if you wanted. You can take the train to the airport if you wanted. You have your boarding passes in hand. You can go arrive 45 minutes before the flight in Dubai, and I believe 35 minutes before the flight in the UK with EasyJet. EasyJet uses it as an ancillary product. Emirates uses it as a premium product for their first-class passengers. That just took the stress away from everything that happens at the airport, isn't it? I know a lot of airports have collaborations where in Hong Kong you can check in at the MTR station in downtown Hong Kong before boarding. In Kuala Lumpur, you can do that as well. You check in the downtown station before you take the KLI Express. What if we started curating and identifying which are the most stressful experiences in the airport? Can we somehow take them away like Disneyland does? Can we somehow make it like online booking or some way to reduce the stress? I'll give you an example. Who's been through Istanbul recently, the current airport? Was it crowded, Angela? Extremely crowded. That's why they're building a new one. But Istanbul is at its peak. It's really crowded. 2 years ago, we worked with Turkish Airlines to solve one pain point at Istanbul airport, which is people just get stuck in the queues and they miss their flights. And the queues they get stuck at is not the check-in queue. It's the security and immigration queue in Istanbul, which is, really long. So in the Turkish Airlines app, we allowed Gold members to book a time in the queue. And in this 15-minute window, if they arrive at the security line, they go right to the top. It's just a way of optimizing queues. But it worked really well, because suddenly people were booking a time as opposed to randomly arriving, and we incentivized them with giving 500 miles if they booked early to prevent the peaks. And you go in early, there's no one there, you go to the top of the queue, and you're in the lounge. It's all in the app. It's stress-free because you know you will be at the top. You're assured of minimum service levels. And it just takes the stress away. It's a curated experience. So on one hand, think about building signature experiences. On the other hand, think about taking away some of the stressful part from within the airport, especially with Uber Air coming and Hyperloop coming. You have lots of opportunity to do things like that. How can we do that? And that is what I mean. Think like a museum curator. You don't have to deal with all the problem on the day of travel, the 92 touch points. Your head blows after that, right? And that is the key. You have to think like a museum curator to create signature experiences to help the airport become remarkable. Now, all of this is all good and fine, but only if the CFO is happy, if it makes money. And I've got two cases to share with you, talking about the direct link between customer experience and delivering good customer experience and actual dollars. The first one comes from TripAdvisor. Who here has booked a hotel without going to TripAdvisor? All of us go to TripAdvisor to check out the rating before booking a hotel, right? And TripAdvisor has released a study, and I can share that link with you later, where it shows and proves that a 1-star increase in TripAdvisor rating, not the hotel rating. It's not the hotel going from 4 stars to 5 stars. TripAdvisor going from 2.5 to 3.5 stars has a 5 to 9% uplift in revenue for the hotels. We're talking about hotels right now, okay? Let's apply this to the airport side of things. I'm sure all of you are familiar with ASQs. That's why we are here. And a brilliant statistic Savda and her team shared with me was that a 1% increase in ASQ satisfaction ratings leads to a 1.5% increase in revenues. I'm sure Dimitri will deep dive into this later on. But there is a direct link. If we focus on delivering good customer experiences, customers reward us by paying us back. And that is the key thing you have to think about. Think like a curator, curate remarkable experiences, signature experiences, take away the stressful part, and people will vote with their wallet. And that's what ultimately is the key. So, to conclude, I think we are living in a world that there are lots of changes. There are the silent travelers, there's Uber, SpaceX, car parks, everyone coming and changing the industry, and yet airports are there. It is your choice to either remain invisible or to be remarkable and bring some magic back into flying such that my daughter still feels super excited every single time we fly. There were a lot more case studies and videos that I wanted to include, but if you want some of those videos or stats, just drop me an email or connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll be outside signing books. There's a table right outside, but thank you very much for your attention.
Now we have one more activity before you go get to eat. And I will let our first keynote speaker explain this to you.
Thank you, Angela. If you both can stay here for a minute as well, please. So I was signing books outside just in the last break, and I usually number the copies that I'm signing, and the numbers were 9990, 9991, 9992. I guess a lot of you have those numbers already. And I realized that today I'm going to hit the 10,000 signed copy of SOAR at the conference. And in the spirit of how quickly things evolve in aviation, as we all know, I had a quick chat with Savda and then Angela and then Joyce, and we've agreed to auction it for a charity of HIAA's choice right here. So Joyce, if you can share with us which charity this will be going to.
Okay, so two immediate, like I had 5 minutes notice of this, so two immediately came to mind, but I am going to, the first that came to mind was Mental Health Foundation of Nova Scotia. We all know them well. We saw Star Dobson last night, or Star Cunningham. But the one I chose was a charity that is supported by Halifax Stanfield International Airport and has been for the past 3 years. They are our partner, signature partner from a charity perspective, and that is the Dartmouth North Community Food Center, who we work with really closely, not only from a financial perspective, but as well the resources of our team at Halifax Stanfield. So we donate a lot of our time to help them do what they do in terms of food security and providing food to those who necessarily, we all take it for granted, don't have that benefit. So they are located in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, very close to the airport, and that's my charity of choice.
Thank you
Okay.
very much. If you can stay here. Yes, we're going to do the auction right now. In fact, Angela and Joyce were so kind to even agree to a one-to-one match from both ACI and Halifax Airport for whatever is paid for this book right now. I'm not an auctioneer, but we saw this morning someone else is. Hence, Brian has been very kind to come up on stage and help us lead this auction. Thank you, Brian. There you go. Extra duty.
All right, so let's do a little practice round of this. So I happen to have my own book, and this is copy 0003 for an unsigned copy of my book. Can I get a free? Can I get a free from anyone? Can I get a free? Can I get a free? Sold to the gentleman. The generosity of Portland. All right, here we go. Truly, I'm not an auctioneer. It was just in character. But we could start. We could start at $50. So 50 Canadian, just to be clear, so no confusion. Do I have 50? 50, anyone? 50. I got 50 right there. Can I get more? Can I get more? Can I get 50? Can I get 60? Can I get 60? 60 from anyone. Anyone wants 60? 60. Anyone want to eat lunch? Then I would suggest $60. So it's 60. Anybody 60? Anybody 60? We just have 50 right here. Oh, we got $60. Portland is going all out today. So we got 60. We got $60. Can we get 70? Can I get $70? Can I get $70? The gentleman in the back. Could I get $80? $80? $80? $80? And $90, yes, all the way to Jacksonville Airport. All right, can I get more? Can I get more? Can I get $90? Can I get? I'm gonna make the big leap. 100, 100. Oh, 100 in the back. Can I get 110? Can I get 110? Can I get 110 to the lady in the back? Can I get 120? Can I get 120? Anybody? 120? 120 to the gentleman in the back. Can I get 140? 140? Anyone? 140? We're gonna go for the big jump. 120, gentleman in the back. 120, gentleman in the back. 140, 140, 140. I guess people are very hungry. 140 to the lady in the back. So I got 140. How about 150? 150. 152. We got a bidding war. This is what we want. Can I get 5,000? Can I get 5,000? 20,000. All right, we'll come back down. 175. Got to get 175. 175. What do we got? We got 160? 150? I don't even remember. That's what the auctioneer I am. All right. We got a deal? What do we got? So I got 200 share. We won't rip the book in half. Anybody want to go above 200? Anybody want to go above 200? Above 200. So 200 going once, 200 going twice. So to the partnership in the back. Good. Come on up, come on up, come on up. You get a picture taken.
So that was for 200?
200, yeah.
So that's a total of $600 we raised for the Dartmouth Community Food Bank today. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations to you, too. All right, Candace and Cincinnati get pages 0 through 100. Let's do a picture. Okay.